Hello, and welcome to another episode of In the Spotlight, where we shine a light on entrepreneurs, innovators, and SMEs. I'm Maxcene Crowe, your host, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined by this visionary Sir Paul Flynn, recently knighted Sir Paul Flynn, founder and board chairman of the Gro Foundation, a global nonprofit dedicated to environmental and social impact. With over 15 years' experience in the energy sector and ESG leadership, Paul is a trusted voice in sustainability and community development. Paul is a rare combination of visionary, operator, change maker, and this makes him really sought after for podcasts, TV appearances, and global forums. I had the privilege of meeting Paul for the first time when we were in India as international speakers. And oh my gosh, we are in for a treat this evening today. Paul, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. You know, I already blushing. In truth, I smile and I talk, and then I get people to do difficult things because I say, "Trust me, it'll be fine."
Yeah, I remember you saying that to me when we were in India. It's just like, yes, trust me. I
Yes,
feel I
I
feel
and then I saw you talk in front of 20,000 people. So
no, do you know it was 40?
it was 40,000 people.
It was 40.
Oh God, had I known that, I would have been more nervous.
Honestly, it was such an experience. I'm so honored to have met you, and I just feel like I'm reconnecting with an old friend. I really do.
Same here, same here. I was really looking forward to this one, and I have so many things we have to discuss after this podcast
Yes, I
because there's
know
just
we
so many
do.
things we actually have to do.
Yes. It's one thing just saying about social impact, but it's another thing actually executing on it. So I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Absolutely.
I'm so delighted that you've joined me today because my audience and industry is facilities management and sustainability, environmental development, ESG is really top of our industry agendas. So having the Grow Foundation founder on the podcast just means that we can spread the word about what you're doing, the great impact, and let's get more people on board. But first of all, our audience need to know a little bit about you, Paul. Or do I call you Sir Paul? You're still getting used to it.
My God, I'm not sure if I'll mention this anywhere.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not actually.
Not at all. No, it's a great honor. It was a lot of work. It's a recognition for things I'm doing, but I keep thinking, this imposter syndrome sense. I just feel I need to do more. I keep asking people, what do you want me to do? And I keep saying, just do what you're doing. Say, no, but must I not do more? Yeah, but it's great. It's great, and it really connects to something I did when I was, or saw rather, when I was like 2 years old. So this
Two.
really feels, yeah, my first memories. I'm Ugandan Irish, as you know, with audiences. I have freckles for those. Paul Cormac Flynn, Mukalazi. That's my Ugandan name. So my father's Irish, my mother's Ugandan. I was born in Germany. So I grew up within three different cultures my entire life, moving around. My parents traveled a lot for work. But my very first memories are from Africa. So my entire life, as part of the diaspora, I watched my aunts, my uncles, the international side send money back to Africa. So I've had family there. I still have family there. And I've seen, so charity, people needed food, they needed financial aid, there was a debt, a car was broken, a roof needed to be repaired, somebody needed to go to school, somebody was sick, somebody wanted to start a business. My entire life, I've seen people send money. And was 16 with my first paycheck, I sent money home to support one of my cousins to go to school. And I've been sending money back ever since. With every paycheck, money goes back to Africa, to the family, the clan, and the wider people in need. So I have several private little charity and impact projects, mini businesses that I helped create,
Yeah.
that I've been running for years now. But I've seen a lot of things not work. And that's what got me to where I am today, because charity helps in the moment. Charity is very, very important. But I just saw my entire life, I just saw the same people come back again and again and again because they know this is somebody who will help me. I need help again. And the truth is, charity didn't change the people's lives. So you help them with a need today, but it will still have that need tomorrow. So I've been thinking about how can you change this my entire life, and that got me to what
So
I'm
this
doing today.
so and this really bleeds into, what's inspired you to be an entrepreneur. But you're not just an entrepreneur, you are a visionary because you've had all these years of nurturing this solution. And, just tell us now how you came up with the actual idea that you have today for your business.
Okay, so the Gro Foundation, in a nutshell, we want to end poverty using climate finance. So right now, the United Nations, the whole world has signed up to become more environmentally friendly and clean up the pollution in forms of carbon emissions we put into the air. And my background is in business law. I've been structuring securities. I did this for management consultancies. I worked for the British government for a long time. I work as an associate partner and an analyst for alternative finance with a big private equity fund. So I've been around big money for a long time. More than 10 years ago now, I quit management consulting. I quit working for big funds. I quit my very cushy 6-figure job at the time to say, no, I want to use what I have and know to create impact projects in a sustainable way. Because the truth is, Southeast Asia, Africa, of course, South America, they're the fastest growing economies because they just have a growing population, very, very young, very, very clever, lots of talent, but nobody's investing in them. Nobody is putting money for them to grow businesses. And I believe Africa in particular has the same chance to grow and explode the same way China and the Middle East did. Places like Dubai, Saudi, they exploded and became they were backwaters a few years ago, and now they became tech leaders and investment leaders. Africa has that same untapped opportunity. And what I want to do is, I said, but how do people bridge that gap? So I used my knowledge to create carbon certificates, which is now a growing market. McKinsey says this will be $1 trillion business annually 10 years from now. And simply what it is growing forests, planting millions and millions of trees at an industrial scale, scientifically measuring them using satellites, all kinds of technology to measure as the trees grow, they take carbon emissions out of the air. There's a regulated United Nations process to certify this, and you can sell this to companies who are putting carbon emissions into the air. And by selling them these certificates, they become net zero. This is $1 trillion market in the making that most people don't understand. It has a very bad reputation, reputedly so. And then so I did two things. I recognized this as an opportunity. I have the knowledge of how to structure that because of the government background and the business background. But more importantly, I've spent more than a decade creating impact projects. So I have a wide network with religious institutions. We met with the
Yeah.
bishops in India.
Yeah.
We both received the highest honors you can get with the Catholic Church in India. That's because we're both creating impact with grassroots communities. So I'm connecting grassroots communities to help me plant trees at this industrial level scale, certifying that with the knowledge that I have, selling it to the big man, the companies. So for the first time, I made a trickle down economy work because now big corporations, I'm solving their problem. They're paying for a product they need. And through that, indirectly, 98% of our profits flow back into the communities to create water and food security projects to take the pressure off that they have on the day. Then we invest into education and skill center facilities and micro manufacturing hubs for people to train skills that they can monetize. And then the majority of the money is used for microfinance and grants to help the people on the ground create businesses that they own and run. And now we've ended poverty because the people who needed charity yesterday become the employers of tomorrow. And that's the goal, to turn Africa into the India story.
I absolutely love this concept. And does it feel surreal to you that that thought that was in your mind all those years ago is now a reality? What does that feel like?
It's still unbelievable. I mean, from my perspective, I still have decades of work ahead of me because it's like climbing a mountain and then realizing, oh my God, there's more mountains. Yeah. So there's simply a lot of people that we have already helped. We've already reached thousands of people through its impact, that through not asking for charity, but creating a product with the communities on the ground that we sell and having money. We've created facilities for several thousand children. We have personally created street home projects that we're supporting. So I now like to say I currently have 236 children. Two I made myself. The other 234 we took off the street. like three,
Wow.
and they're in homes now, supervised by projects, and that's really really good, and it's a sustainable solution. Um, there's so much more to do, but we're supported by the Interreligious Council of Uganda and East Africa on a wide scale, supported by the Council of Kings. The ministries across Africa are asking for us to come and supporting us because simply for the first time we're saying, hey, how can we help? We're not extracting value. We're not taking their resources and monetizing it with the 10x. We're truly collaborating with communities on the ground and giving it back. And right now, we already have 100 million carbon certificates certified and validated, ready for sale. Just today, I had a conversation to start a regulated hedge fund. We're insurable by Lloyd's of London, Kita. So we have a regulated, insurable financial product that will be worth a few $billion. And I didn't keep it. I went by my word. That's what the Gro Foundation now keeps. I didn't make it mine. I'm not putting all of that into my own pocket, but it truly flows back to the people. And where other people are like, great, that's retirement. I'm like, great, that's more than a decade of work ahead of me.
That's incredible. You're just insane. People and the audience that are just listening to this, corporates in our industry will talk about social impact. We talk about the giving back. We talk about, and it's sometimes it's just a lot of talk, but you never see the results of that talking. And I'm
Yeah,
not saying that we don't honor what we believe in terms of what we're doing. It's just you have managed to, in just a few short years, move the needle and raise the bar on what true environmental sustainability and social impact looks like. Any of our audience and listeners out there, when we're sharing this, Paul is an amazing example of how to get this right. I'm
I,
gonna I'm gonna ask you about some of the challenges. What were some of the
please.
challenges that you faced on this journey?
Okay, so it's working in Africa. So I've done work in emerging markets now for a long, long time, and it's a difficult environment. It's not the kind of thing where you sign a contract, and so cultural language, cultural difference is real. I already grew up between three different cultures. So at a very young age, I realized, you know what, the truth, the fact, etiquette, it's different everywhere, and there is no right or wrong. So truly learning to try consciously to view the world from the perspective of the person you're talking to and not judge them by your standards of what is right and what is wrong and how things are supposed to be done. That's the biggest challenge. So the truth is, I spend a lot of time on the ground drinking tea with people to truly understand and not come and tell them this is what I want to do. Truly coming with the mindset of, okay, how can I help? What do you need for this to work? Because this is what I will be doing to help you, but I understand that you have challenges that you need solved today. And the attitude of how can I help being at the core of everything I do has unlocked so many things. Because, say, working in Africa, especially, people keep talking about African corruption, which is true and not true. The reason this exists is that people have to eat today, and they have children they need to feed today. So when you're at a table with 10 people, they don't have the capacity always to plan for next week. First of all, everybody has lied to them for generations. Nobody came back. Everybody's there just to attract. So building that good faith took me a decade of work to get there. It's
Yeah.
not something where making a handshake agreement, signing a contract is easy. Getting that true good faith, everybody talks about good faith, but earning that good faith, that's what takes a long, long time. So you have to do things with a lot of patience and a lot of love and a lot of forgiveness and occasionally being half Irish, a whiskey, and then forgiving a little bit more. Yeah. And then very, very patiently making things work. Because the corruption that people keep talking about is just the fact that there are 10 people in a room and there's one loaf of bread. And you're promising more loaves of bread, but right now there's only one. Now, everybody knows that everybody needs to feed their family with that loaf of bread. So you're stupid not to take it. Because if everybody else will take it, you're stupid if you're not to, because
Yeah.
they haven't experienced that scaling up. Yeah? And that's something you have to realize. So whoever wants to start these businesses, you have to have a long-term mindset. But if you have that long-term mindset, this is the biggest growth market that this world has. The average age in Uganda is 17. 17. These people will be trained and qualified. They'll be just as qualified engineers as India had a few years ago, but at a lower cost. Because this is an economy where people live off $30 a month, $1 a day. Now imagine you can tap that potential and just give them $2 a day to start, and then make it 5, and then make it 10, and then scale it up. This is true growth. And if you have the capacity and strength and love to stick with it, you'll make it far.
Absolutely incredible. You make that challenge actually sound so simple. You really
I like making things simple. You see, what I keep saying, at the moment, we're in the process of planting 1 billion trees. This is the secret to scale for everybody who's listening. The secret to the mistake people make is they try to optimize for efficiency, where I believe you have to optimize for effectiveness. So planning to plant, the logistical challenge of planting 1 billion trees is impossible. But what I've perfected is to plant one tree. So planting one tree is very easy. My 5-year-old child has planted a tree. You dig a hole, you put it in there, and then you have to tell the 8-year-old, please water this tree twice a week. That's it. So planting one tree is very, very easy. And now we have to scale this simple process to do it 1 billion times. You achieve the same goal, but you're not getting blinded by optimizing for the fastest growing trees or putting in fruit trees, getting secondary businesses. There's so many things that create hurdles because people want more. People always want more because why earn $1 if you could earn $2? The thing is, it doesn't stop. Why earn $1 billion if you could earn $2 billion? And people keep chasing this growth, which is fake. Stick to the fundamentals, do them really, really well, and scale that, and you'll be bigger than everybody else. And that is simple.
is a very, very valuable lesson for our listeners. How do you handle the setbacks? Because you're in a quite a difficult climate. How do you handle setbacks or when something doesn't go quite right?
Tenacity. I have learned for a long time working in the impact business where it's people always say that's another mistake I've seen a lot of people make because it can be very frustrating when you hear some of the stories of the communities or the children on the ground. It's heartbreaking. Yes. So men can cry too. Yeah. So allow yourself that. Feelings are true. Emotions are true. Things can be hard. So I don't enjoy the journey. The journey is an administrative process that I have to go through.
Yeah.
I'm working for that destination and I'm not looking for, and all my strength is internal. So this is a purpose. I'm on a mission. This is not a job. I could earn more money more easily with a latte working for hedge funds. So I'm not doing this for an external reward, be it money, being it a pat on the shoulder, being it some medal or some person saying, this is great. I'm doing it because I know it's the right thing to do for me. It's what I believe in. So all the hardships that are there, no matter how difficult they are, how begrudging they are, I'm standing with both 2 feet on the ground. So as long as I have the capacity to move forward, I
Mhm.
can deal with these hardships again and again and again. They're not fun, but that destination that we're getting to, and we're getting close every day, that is worth it. And again, where lots of people measure their success in how much money they have in their bank account. But if you measure it with the life you're leading, you know, then maybe you don't need to be a millionaire. Maybe having the time to spend time with your family, looking after them and your friends and maximize that time can be better than working with some fund and never seeing anybody because you're working 100 hours a week. Now, I am working 100 hours a week, so that's a terrible example,
We
but
will come on to that. We will come on to your
I
your
will get
work
there.
life
That's true.
balance or work life harmony a bit later on.
Yeah.
With your company, how do you foster a culture of innovation?
That's a great question. I believe in a bottom up strategy. For me personally, try to both the project and me personally with my team. I have a very, very strong team. I couldn't do anything without the people around me. I have a core team and a wider team, and I'm trying to train everybody to be the actual owner of their part of the chain. So I'm not putting my ego up front and everything has to be the way I have to do it. Everybody knows the goal. Everybody understands what their part within that chain is. But then I try to give as much ownership as possible to people. Because when people have pride in what they do, when people understand what they're doing and why it helps, even a meaningless task, if you understand why this obviously meaningless, it feels meaningless, but if inside, if I do this well, this connects this thing to that thing and it achieves this. So suddenly I am important. I am a crucial part. I'm a crucial link in this chain. So by letting people understand the entire chain and where they are, and then giving them ownership of how they do it, they feel that ownership, they feel that pride, and then they do it. So I've been lucky that a lot of true talents have left really, really cushy jobs. Yeah. I don't necessarily recommend that to everybody. Yes. But I've been really, really lucky that a lot of good people have come. And we hope that as we scale and cash flow comes, I want to bring the kind of people who'll be working at Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Nvidia, McKinsey, those high paying, high flying jobs. I want to be able to get that type of talent into creating impact. They can earn the same money, maybe not immediately, but being able to earn the money and live the life that you want while creating good, being a true servant to those around you, I think that can be very, very beneficial. Because a normal charity doesn't have money themselves. They're asking for money to give money and then they have to ask for more. We're a financial product. That's what we're building.
Yeah.
And that requires impact and travel and work. And I'm spending times knee deep in the mud, and I spend times a suit and tie with board directors of companies that everybody knows by name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's the kind of talent we need, and we'll
Uh,
give that opportunity.
when you were explaining about that ownership, and it reminded me in our facility management industry, I remember when you have the cleaning companies and you have the cleaners, they're face to face with the clients all the time, and some people see them as they're just the cleaner, but they're not just the cleaner. So people change their name to cleaning specialists to make them a bit more elevated in their status. But it's not about that. You're right. It's about that intrinsic ownership. And it's not just about cleaning that chair in that office so that someone can sit on it the next day. It's so much more than that. And it's about that customer experience and making sure. So that's just something that came to mind when you were talking, so I could make it relatable for our
But
people.
using that example with facilities, if I can hop onto that as an example, and this is I'm just
Mm,
riffing, but this is what my philosophy. If I had, for example, a restaurant, you can, if you think about it, you judge the true quality of a place by the cleanliness of its toilet. Lots of people, they might have a nice food area, everything is great, and then you go to a really dirty place. So if that toilet person had the opportunity to become, if as part of that trajectory, become a facility manager who makes sure, in order for us to get that Michelin star, kitchen needs to be clean, the environment needs to be clean, the toilet needs to be clean. That is the final hurdle. Doesn't matter how good the food was. If
mm,
we are not clean, this is part. So that honor and pride of we will get that Michelin star because you are doing the work, but also recognizing that value. Again, it's a small part within the value chain, but it's a very, in this case, I'm going for this Michelin star. It's a very important work. So if I connect that pride and also give an opportunity to understand if you can do this well, you can make sure that the cleanliness and the checks and balances for hygiene are part of that. If I give that opportunity for people to grow,
yeah.
they will do that right. They will do that right. And that's this kind of opportunity. I mean, it doesn't work everywhere, but
No.
you can make it work. And that's the kind of attitude that you want to have. So it's an opportunity for people to grow. And still, everybody's a niche. People have certain capacities. There's many, many things I can't do well, but I'm very, very good at this one little thing. And I find other people are very, very good at that other little thing. And then you need to fit how their personality, their way of doing things, where in this chain can you put them so that they can excel to the best way possible.
Yeah. And I think in corporate worlds, sometimes it gets forgotten. Sometimes people are in environments where it's just about the bottom line, just getting that monthly reporting, and they get stuck in this mental cycle.
Yeah.
Having social impact and something to strive for as a purpose definitely makes a difference to them. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk
Ownership.
to you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to talk to you about growing and scaling. How do you prioritize opportunities? Because I know that you've got a lot of different priorities. How do you prioritize? And especially when you've got some limited resources, but I know that wind and that that's coming to change, that's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us.
I don't. And that's the trick. No, that's really important. So I work, I've had lots of people talk about it, but I've really internalized this. I work with a 10-year mindset. I won't do any, and I have done this for long, I've lived it for a long, long time. I won't do or start anything today that won't benefit me in 10 years. And I don't just mean of having earned money, and of course it's great to have money, but if it's not a skill that I can build on that becomes more valuable over time. Yeah. So, for example, there's so many jobs that are easy to get into. I'll use a real life example. I was offered $1 million cash just to start at a hedge fund and do what I do for them. And with the bonuses, they were offering something like 10 million in incentives for me to do the work, which actually has told me, hey, I'm definitely on the right way. And my God, I looked at my bank account, that money isn't there. But I already live in a great place.
Yeah.
So I knew everything I'm doing, all the value, all the momentum I have is because for more than a decade now, I've been building up the same momentum in the same direction. And I did not deviate. I became very, very good at my niche. I'm adapting obviously to the changes, but I'm going in the same direction. So I can call people that have known me 10 years back and more, and I'm still in that same field building the same thing. So obviously I have more, and my experience and my contacts get deeper, and my experience gets better over time. So every day I'm staying in this field, I'm working on. So even if there's an opportunity to do something faster, but in a different way, so all those things that to me, that's just noise. I'm not optimizing for short-term gains and benefits, because what a lot of people do in the rat race, they make money and then they start again. They keep chasing quick opportunities, yeah, and then they do things again and again and again, but they're always starting at zero and they make something very quick, but then they're starting at zero and doing something quick. I've been building something steadily for a decade that has brought me up that mountain, and I have enough momentum behind me and enough results behind me that I can't fall off this mountain. Yeah, I'm not starting at zero. So things happen, things go up and down and work and don't work all the time, of course,
Yeah.
but this direction is only up. So by sticking to something and building an experience, and I've done this by not chasing. I've had so many opportunities to do something else. I've been offered jobs where I've been managing 100 people in a team. I would have been sitting in an office. I would have had 5 directors under me. And to me, I was like, wow, but I don't really have to do anything if I'm sitting there, because there's other people who know what to do. I just have to ask them, did you do your job? Send me a report how you did their job. Also been a 6-figure job. But I was like, wow, I couldn't be locked in an office. You couldn't pay me enough money to be locked in an office. I need to move and I need to feel that I did something. Yeah.
Yeah.
With this 10-year mindset and this stacking up results rather than trying to get to many, many different short-term opportunities, that's the trick. So I don't optimize for opportunities. I've been doing the same thing for a decade and more.
Yeah. And it might look different as you go through, evolve,
Of
and you get to
course.
different stages. And that's really important for entrepreneurs and people that are listening, that are maybe starting out on their business. And I mean, from my experience, I came from a corporate background. And when you're freelancing, you're contracting, and then you start on something, and then someone offers you a great contract. And then I was that person. I would run that next contract, and I've been in my mind, I'm a teacher, I'm the academy, and that's always been there. But
Yes.
it's that next thing, that next
Yeah.
thing. I
But
get
that's
it.
not what I mean. That's because no, but you're building that momentum. You're teaching, and I know what the kind of things they're building with the structures, because you are still building a system that you can use. Yes. And your experiences as a teacher and how to teach and how to scale that teaching methodology and how to reach more people, that's what you're building up. So yes, of course you have different clients. I need to sell the products that we have to clients again and again and again. But what we can sell, the services we can solve, and for me, the product, the certificates, the scaling of the planting of trees, I'm getting better at that.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're starting different projects again, but you're all within the same
Within the
direction
same.
of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, anybody can become a teacher tomorrow, but they can't have that systemized approach that you have and the solutions that you're building of how you're teaching content, how you're proliferating that. So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But another thing, if you're talking facilities management and if this is people who are starting businesses, it's also understanding when I talk about chain links in the value chain.
Yeah.
Where can your particular skill create the most impact? For example, as you said in the introduction, I started in the energy sector. I was part within the compliance within the British government are doing offshore wind. I was doing routinely, like I was doing compliance work for projects £500 million and up routinely. The biggest single project had 3 billion in volume. I was reporting to the First Minister of Scotland on a weekly basis. I will point through the PPP that we're working in. And then I used to think I am a consultant creating securities in the energy business. And for years, I made the mistake of trying to be a part of energy projects, but my part in the value chain for an energy project, building wind farms, you need engineers, you need transport, you need heavy engineering equipment and all that. And that's not me. But my knowledge in creating securities and structuring compliance documentation within the carbon certificate is 90% of the value. My skills are the same. I just applied them to a different value chain where my contribution is more significant. And that recognition, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still working with the same people in terms of compliance and structuring, but I applied it to a different value chain. And that was my big breakthrough to realize that I'm not an energy expert. I'm a compliance and securities expert in creating them. And if I do this in a securities realm, especially with a government background, something people don't understand, but I do, that's where I can shine.
Yeah. It's so important. People often get confused or they get hung up on, oh, I'm going to be general and go out and do all of this with all of my knowledge and all my skills. But you're absolutely right. People are sometimes scared of niching. They call it niching or niching because,
Yes.
or even micro niching because they feel I might miss out on an opportunity. But actually, when you become that authority, which you are, it opens up the right doors and attracts the right people in for you then to create that bigger impact. So that's really important for the audience to understand as well. The niching is good. Micro niching is even better, especially when you identify that need and that gap in an industry and in a market. Okay, so the next 5 years, what does the next 5 years look like?
Well, we hope that the Gro Foundation and the compliance arm, which is Carbon Orchard as a brand, that's where we're setting the fund for companies to enter and buy the certificates. We want to be the number one global brand for companies to meet net zero. Because the unique thing that we have is not just a certification product, all certificates are standardized, but we have the people with us. We have the kingdoms, we have the interreligious council. We can get straight to a parish, to a village through the local parish priest or the imam. We can work with the ministries to truly scale. So we want to be one of the top 5, if not the biggest active reforestation project in the world. And we want to be the biggest number one brand for high quality, high integrity carbon offset certificates. And we want to have our contribution to making the world a little bit cleaner, primarily to help people on the ground to leave poverty behind them.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I love that. What is the best piece of advice that you've ever had?
Well, right now, which is a completely different story, I'm thinking of being behind barbed wire with some soldier telling me things will be fine in a very stressful situation. That was still, we're doing some work in disaster relief. You're alive, you're fine. You will just do your thing tomorrow. No, but the most, when people say keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, that KISS principle. We live in a world where everybody on Instagram and social media posts all these wisdom. Everybody can quote a philosopher, everybody can quote some inspirational thing, but nobody really thinks about it. So do 3 things. Do everything with an attitude of how can I help? Do what you do as simple as possible. Don't optimize for efficiency. Don't add complexity if you don't need to. Do one thing really, really well and learn how to scale that one simple thing. So keep it simple, stupid. You all know that, but nobody does it. So keep it
Well,
simple, stupid, and then be kind to strangers for no reason. The same way I say it's impossible to plant 1 billion trees, but it's very easy to plant 1 tree 1 billion times. It's impossible to change the world, but it's also very easy if we simply are kind to those people around us, no matter how they behave. They can have a bad day, they can be screaming. You stay true to yourself, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to live in a good world. Keep that kindness up for no reason to absolute strangers who will never give you anything back, who might not even deserve it. But you're making that world around you better. And if enough people did that, the world would change. And then it becomes very easy.
It'd be incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's some great piece of wisdom there. I'm now going to challenge you.
To short answers, I will lose.
No, no, no. No, it's not even that. I was, so basically, I've got this running thing around work-life balance or work-life harmony, and knowing a little bit about your schedule and with what you do with your foundation. What's your view? Work-life balance, harmony, or hell? Hell knows. I don't have an opinion.
It's a great example of do what I say, don't do what I do. I believe so. Work-life balance is very important. It's the most important thing. Remember, I talked about how do you deal with hardship. So, for example, I gave up living in London. My wife is Bulgarian, but during the pandemic, I gave up living in London. And right now, I live in a small beach town in Bulgaria with access to a good airport. So, I also have 2 children now. So, I can literally say, well, I already live at the beach. So it wasn't difficult for me to say no to a $1 million offer just to start with all these beautiful things. Because what should I do? I could live 200 meters closer to the beach in a slightly bigger apartment, but I can eat all the food that I need to eat. I can look after my children how I need to look after them. I can visit my sister in Australia. I have everything I need. I don't need to optimize that. I don't need a Ferrari. If you need a Ferrari, get yourself a Ferrari. I don't need a Ferrari. I know the life I need to live to be truly happy. And all that extra capacity I have to do more, where people were chasing wealth or credit or titles, I can use that extra capacity to create impact, to create the environment and the world around me and work with the people I want to work with, because I'm not working with bad people to earn more money. I'm working with good people to achieve what I want to achieve. So that's my work. I believe work-life balance is actually 3 things. It's not a balance between life and work. So work, life, and balance are actually 3 things if you think about it. So work is work. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Life is your family and the daily life. Life is not the great holiday you achieved of. Life is the boring time with your partner just watching TV. It's the dinner you have every day with them. That is your life. And make that nice. Make it interesting. Go on a trip, go for dinner, go for a walk, do whatever you want, whatever the life is you want to lead. If it's having a good partner play PlayStation, and that's your life. Bless your heart. So life isn't those dream things or going on a vacation, some dream location once in your lifetime to the Bahamas. It's your everyday life. These dream vacations, that's your balance. That's the icing on the cake. So your dream holiday that you'll talk about for years, that hobby that you have, that's the balance that you have between your daily life and your work. So if you look at it as 3 separate things, you can balance them all between. You can reward yourself with balance, but you put a lot of thought about just your daily life of how you live. And that makes your life very, very nice.
I love that answer. And I've never had anyone explain it like that before. So thank
I
you.
live to serve. There you go.
um, okay, I'm gonna around just adapting and evolving. So with the rapid pace of like technology advancements, how are you applying or ensuring that what you're doing with the foundation can maximize that?
Okay. So everybody's homework. When I went to business school, we spent a lot of time studying Michael Porter's 5 forces model.
The competitive strategy, yeah.
So everybody Google Porter's 5 forces model, and that's just so it's the same. Like you can optimize your supply, your market, your competition, the threat of new entrants, and the threat of substitution. Those are the 5 models. So what's your supply chain coming in? What's your control of the market going out? Your bargaining power in both sides. What's your threat of new entrants coming in? But what's your threat of substitution? Most people forget threat of substitution. For example, you can be the best video store in the world, and then Netflix comes around. That is threat of. It doesn't matter how good you are at this one thing. Nokia lost its market share because they weren't ready for smart. They saw smartphones, they didn't recognize it for what it was, they didn't adapt, and now they're just one of many brands. They owned the mobile phone market. So you always have to look at technology. So already AI, for example, While obviously AI won't plant a tree, yeah, robots won't plant trees. We're working with grassroots communities, but it helps us with the compliance perspective. So there'll be a lot of new entrants coming in because a lot of the compliance work that I'm doing is becoming less valuable because it's a moat that we had. Not everybody knows, but soon, maybe it'll be a year, maybe 5 years, but AI will know how to write the compliance side, get things certified. But that means I need to, that's not my mode. That means I need to get better at focusing within our value chain on the government relations that we have, on the communities that we have, because that's something built over decades. You can't replace a decade long relationship overnight. Yeah. And so that's what I said. Remember, with the 10-year mindset, focus on the things that become more valuable over time, but also be aware of different things that you're being able to do. So, me being multilingual in cultures, that has helped me recognize how things are simply done differently in many ways. And at least I try to be very consciously aware, not let my ego guide me with, I've always done it this way, that's a loss. So yeah, you have to adapt. And this is true for everybody. Yeah. So our moat is right now it's compliance. And the second moat is decades long relationships. That is safer than technology allowed to that technology will replace consultancies. So people who studied to be a lawyer for years and years and years and now are some great trial lawyer, at least on the corporate law side, AI is going to replace them because some legal assistant with minimal training and significantly less salary, they will automate that. But the same way secretary pools were replaced by computers,
Yeah.
it's just the way things go. But now, if you understand corporate law, for example, being able to now work with AI to create contracts at a faster pace, that's how billionaires come across with Facebook. Yeah, they simply needed less people to do the same output. So it become more, so lawyers who are truly good at what they do, I believe lawyers need to understand the business better. So they're not the lawyer who knows the law. They understand the business, but they understand enough of the law to use then AI to generate all the legal paperwork. That can make smaller, more specialized law firms more valuable. So that's an
Yeah.
example how you would adapt
Yeah.
if I was a corporate lawyer. If you're a corporate lawyer, do that.
Some good advice. I actually know a very good lawyer and who's actually studying an MSc in AI because
Yes.
recognizes the importance of the tech and the future. We
Very
have
important.
for buildings we have a lot of AI technology that's around now, and the people that are winning the business now are the ones that are embracing the technology solutions. Still have to have the human element
Of
always,
course,
I
you have to
think.
manage the people. But
Always.
now, for example, if you said once you have work plans, AI can help you. If you have a large facility with multiple people, AI can do your staffing scheduling.
Yeah.
You can document through some app who's sick, who's coming in, how do the schedules need to adapt, what task has been completed, what task needs to be done. And like AI can and will soon, what the top manager did,
Yeah.
AI can do, or the administration part can be done. So now it's about people, quality control, becoming more efficient with a smaller team. But again, still doing the same work, but with a smaller team.
Mm.
And that means, again, if you're doing the right thing, give that money to your staff because you want to keep them and share their. And so people who put everything into their own pocket, they will go away soon because everybody in that chain can use AI to actually replace the manager. Yeah, it's a tool that makes everybody individually more powerful if they understand the processes.
Yeah. Some really good words of wisdom there. I was going to say, how how do you ensure that you're going to be the go-to expert in this field for the future? What are you going to do to ensure that you stay ahead?
There are people who talk and there are people who do, and I just remind myself repeatedly that I need to do. I'm part. I'm continuously rotating through every step of our own value chain. So I've been in Africa. I mean, I was in India with you. So within that I was in India with you. The week before, I'd been in Saudi Arabia. The week after, I'd been in Uganda and then Kenya, Uganda again, Germany. I've been across Europe. So I am part. So I'm knee deep in mud. The one day, the one few days that I'm presenting to a community to open up a new market, I'm constantly training people to basically to take ownership of that part of the chain. but I'm working for a living. And I believe that work, again, this is powerful. Capital is going to become less. Capital right now, especially in the world we're going to, is looking for places to deploy into. Right now, capital wants to say in capital markets, everything is weighted towards the big ones that are too big to fail. But at the end of the day, somebody needs to do the work. I'm working. So when I talk, I'm working, and by being work, I'm always current at what I do. I'm never leaning back and saying this was it. Through active work and active participation, I'm staying current. I'm a manager who leads from the front, but then always enabling people to be at the front with me. So as they get better, I'm a platform and we're all rising with the tide. And that, I think, is the trick. Leaders should remain, thought leaders need to continue thinking. So think about the problems every day.
I love that. I love that. And I was going to ask you for some words of wisdom for our audience. So I know that I've asked you what was the best piece of advice that you've received. What words, what other, I mean, you've given us loads already and it's been absolutely brilliant. What else? What words of wisdom would you give to our entrepreneurs, those that are in the facility management industry, those that are charged with ESG and the sustainability, that social impact? What would advice would you give to them?
Okay. So early on, that was actually things I'd missed all the things that I said and put together from things that I'd lived. So I now use I think it's a quote by the wisest philosopher of all time. I believe the wisest person to have lived, at least for 900 years as a green man, Master Yoda from Star Wars. He said, "Do or do not, there is no try." So it's doing business, working, trying to be successful is an infinite game. So it doesn't matter. So every day is a brand new day. It doesn't matter if you failed yesterday. It doesn't matter if something collapsed. It doesn't matter if something didn't work. Yes, be depressed and everything. And remember that and learn. But today is the day you start. It doesn't matter that you've been working for 10 years and then something big didn't work out and you think you failed. No, you're standing. You're still strong. Today is the new day you start. And that controls your tomorrow. Yesterday has very little influence on what you can do today in order to control your tomorrow. So that kind of tenacity, that willingness to go through, and that's what you said with hardship. Yeah. Okay. Yesterday everything collapsed. Okay, my house burnt down. I guess I'm building a new house. Great. I'm going to live in an amazing house next week. I better start.
Yeah.
And that knowledge that you're in an infinite game and that every day you're starting new to build your future. Learn from yesterday, but don't rely on it, and just continue. Do or do not. And then it is just doing it. Most people with talent are afraid to take action. That's it. And this is where master yours is: just do it. Do or do not. Don't think about it. I'm very good. I've made so many mistakes, but I'm continuously doing. I try simple steps. Oh, it didn't work. I have to do this way. Oh, it didn't work. Ah, this worked. Okay, I can scale that. It didn't get, okay, it stopped here. Okay, I'm swinging to here to here. Ah, it worked again. And I continue. Other people spend weeks or months or years thinking about their dream thing. And if this happens, then I will be ready to start. That's not true. Start today, fail, do it again tomorrow, fail, do it again the day after. Wow, your first success. Do it again, it didn't grow. Do it again, it will get better. That's it. Do. Think about what you want to do, apply that 10-year mindset, and then do it. It doesn't matter if you fail. Nobody cares if you fail. Everybody will clap after you've done all the work and say that was easy.
Yeah. I love that piece of advice. So, is there a book, podcast, or a resource that's been influential on you? Apart from Star, I know that I remember now that you said that you love Star Wars, so I get the Yoda.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. 42, The Answer to the Meaning of Life, the Universe, and Everything. There's many, many, many good books. And the truth is, there's a positivity bias. What I like about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which should be recommended reading to everybody, it's a very, very absurd book that at the same time has so many nuggets about looking at life and be able to laugh at it. And that is one of the things, again, getting through hardship realizing that, shit happens.
Yeah.
So, rather than recommending books, people always want this one answer. People always want this one tagline to look at. Fine. So for me, it was economics. So Peter F. Drucker, the foundation of economics, the blue ocean strategy, the lean startup, crossing the chasm. So for growth markets, for me personally, those are the things I needed to read. Extreme Ownership is a book I've read, written by a special forces soldier, Jocko Willink. Yeah, I've read Never Take Yes. It's the FBI negotiator. He's doing his rounds. Actually, pleasure. I met him in Davos. That was amazing. So for me, those were the books that helped me with what I'm doing. But whatever you are doing, I believe the trick is it's not a single book. Don't try to get caught up in things. I listen to a lot of podcasts. When I am interested in a topic, I Google that topic and then I listen to everybody talk about it. I listen to podcasts every day. I'm constantly learning about the same topic. And if I hear 10 different experts talk about something, I will hear 20 different opinions in those 10 different podcasts. And they'll all be talking about. And within that, and again, that's being multilingual in culture.
Mm.
Yeah. 3 different people come to different results talking about the same thing and the same facts. Now we have all these experts talking about the topic that you're interested in. Listen to those that you don't agree with and try to understand what is their reasoning for coming to a completely different conclusion than you had. Because there's some truth in that too. And then build your own picture. Yeah. So it's the wealth of data to get to something. Lots and lots of different perspectives. And I love podcasts for that because you can hear many people think about the same topic from different perspective with different opinions and different truths.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you. Think about it. Listen, be open-minded. I'm like, hey, so I'm not a fan of anybody. I'd be like, this person was great here. But on that topic, those 3 people actually are different, and I'll go with what those 3 for these reasons. Yeah. And then you build your own, and that's how you become an independent thinker yourself.
Yeah.
Just learn.
And just
Learn
not
every day.
afraid,
Yeah,
not afraid and have your own opinion as well. Not
exactly.
afraid of
And
what people
listen to
think.
many. Don't parrot one opinion. Find a book you like, and then find as many podcasts and other specialists talking about that. Hear lots of different things. Maybe the person's right, maybe the person's wrong, maybe it's a blend of everything, and then apply what you need for your things.
Yeah. I could actually just talk to you all night.
Yeah, let's
'Cause
go for it. I have water here,
you
and
have
and I have,
water, you have candy. I was going to say, even though I met you for the first time, it's only literally a couple of months ago. It just feels like I've known you for just such a long time. And
that's because
seeing
you
that
met in a monastery surrounded by bishops and nuns. That was quite an exceptional place to meet.
it really was. And, it's not very often that people get to be around or be surrounded by those special things. And I think that's just going to be a long memory for a very, very long time. And I'm sure we're going to do some wonderful things together as well. Do you have anything else to share with our audience? I know you've already given so much to us. What
Yes.
what what else comes to mind for you in terms of people that are unsure about a direction to take? So you talked about people that get an idea and they have a dream and it just stays in the mind. But what would you say? What would you say to them?
Live today. I think the purpose of I think live today. Be happy with what. Remember, what work life balance.
Yeah.
When people they work all their year, they have 355 bad days to justify their 10-day holiday in a year that they then talk about all year. That's their balance. So no, you deserve 300 good or decent days because you're living today. Maximize the amount of joyful days that you have. And that is also by finding the level of wealth or freedom or time that you need to do. And maybe it is not but maybe you don't need to climb that extra ladder in your corporate career. Maybe independence and earning how much money you're earning, maybe that's enough. Because if that is enough to pay for your holidays, look after your medical bills, look after your children, pay your rent without worry, if that's enough. But now you have all this time that you can spend with your family because you are a family person who likes living in a village, for example. That's great. There's no need to live in Manhattan or London or Paris and struggle because you feel people need to respect you. Live your life today and live as many todays as you can and be happy. Yeah, just try to be. And taking away that pressure, is great. You don't have to achieve anything for anybody except yourself, your immediate family and friends, and they will
Mm.
love you anyway if you do that.
That is so true. That is so true. Paul,
Maxine.
how can our audience contact I know. How can our audience contact you if they want to know more about the Gro Foundation, and
Don't call me, I'm
how
very busy.
can we help? Don't call you. How can we help?
Yes, that's a great point. So if people want to watch what we're doing, the Gro Foundation, the Gro.Foundation is on Instagram. So you can watch us there. The underscore Paul Flynn. That's my Instagram. So you can watch us there. www.thegrowfoundation.org is our website. We're still ramping up our social media. There's also stories there. One of my dreams, and we're still scaling that, it's not ready yet. But if you just follow us on social media, our website, you'll see it. One of my dreams is to connect communities in Europe, in the developed world, with the communities on the ground, because we need people who can help us start up and scale those projects. And why work with private equity and hedge funds and big money people and why make the rich richer if communities can come together, where the communities in the UK, in Germany, and France can help start a project in Tanzania by putting in some money and some time and some expertise, maybe through volunteer work. We haven't
Mhm.
set up, that's what we're trying to set up. And then it's the communities on the ground in Tanzania or Botswana who are creating these projects. And now, as we sell certificates after the work, instead of giving that money to a hedge fund or private equity fund that funded it, why not distribute it to thousands of people and make them happy here? This is a true opportunity to make people on both sides of this divide happy, because it's not about left or right. It's about us as a community coming together. And why should we benefit from doing good? And I hope that's what the Grow Foundation can offer as many, many people as possible everywhere in the world one day.
Mm.
That's what we're building. So
Absolutely
anyway,
incredible.
find us on social. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how that works. Listen to the Maxcene Crowe podcast. I will surely be back. We'll do things. I am terrible at social media, but that's because I'm working. So when you don't hear from me, it means I'm working, and we're doing our very, very best every day. I want to thank my team. I want to thank you. There's so many people doing so much. It's not a Paul Flynn show. We're truly here to serve, and find that service for yourself. And whoever you are, one day, if you're doing something I can help with, if it's in my power, guess what? I probably will help.
Yeah.
Be kind to
And
strangers.
in the spotlight, it does shine a light, and it gives that platform and that voice to incredible visionaries like yourself.
Visionary.
And yeah, it's just been an incredible time. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you, Paul,
I've had a
for
great
this
time.
episode, and I will be in touch with you very, very soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This was an incredible conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I learned there's a lot for me to think about with some of those questions. So I look forward to exploring them myself.
Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. Everyone, this has been another episode of In the Spotlight with Paul Flynn, the founder and board chairman of the Gro Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Paul.
much.